So, anybody stuck? Anybody need help? So, I got a question. What if I never tracked this stuff? This is the first time I've ever been here. I've never, thought about this, right? So then I asked, so first, if that's true, that's okay. By the way, that's okay. It's just telling, right? It's telling that either you didn't know that these were important numbers to track, and you didn't even know that you didn't know it, and that's okay. Or you never saw them as important. Now, if you saw them as, and now, as we get through these next 3.5 days, I think you're going to hear that these numbers are important. Numbers will change your business, and that will change your life. And so once you gather that this is important, then we'll have our attention on it. If you need to start answering these questions and you have to take a swag, you have to start doing some diagnostics. And I have to start asking you some questions like, what's your practice area? How many cases do you have retain your firm every month? And here's what I'm going to say. If you truly don't know these numbers, okay, and you don't know where to start, they're not going to try to sell you something. Go out to 4eyes at their booth, sit down with Bert's team, and let him show you how to diagnostically unpack this for yourself. So you can walk out of here with at least the basic numbers of where you're at. They'll show you how to intelligently start to digest, go find all of those things. Is that fair?
Yeah, it's probably what I'm most excited about doing is just because the opportunity is there. Once you actually nail those numbers, then everything opens up in terms of what you can do. So it's almost like that's an adrenaline rush for me because when they see it, they get excited too. Like you see,
yeah,
this is where the action's at.
Yeah, when somebody comes up and they know all their numbers, it's somewhat deflating, right?
Well, then I'm going to know is what do you want your numbers to be?
Right. So that's it, right? So if they know their numbers, it's like okay, they got their numbers, but now what do they mean? Like how do we interpret them? It's like reading tea leaves, right? So what does it mean when my set rate is off? What should my set rate be? What does it mean that my show rate is 40%? What should my show rate be, right? And the answer is a lot of times it all depends. Now we're not going to cut deep on that. We are going to try to go to the secrets here because I want to keep us on track. And so, first I want you to tell your California story.
Right, so, we were, new to all you all, just like you all in terms of the PCLC, and so I really realized at some point in time what I really wanted was consistent, predictable, and increasing cash flow. And we learned from a PCLC perspective, we weren't very consistent with our numbers. And so over time, we got pretty strong with consistently converting leads. Well, what we did is that, we basically then started working with people like Robert Stanley in terms of identifying what marketing campaigns converted. And so once you own that, if you want a consistent, predictable, and increasing cash flow, you just have to own your marketing to sales conversions. I'll give you an example. We acquired a firm that was doing $30,000 a month before we came in.
By the way, he was a client here, and they met through this relationship.
So he had already increased it to $30,000, and in 10 weeks, we went from $30,000 to $120,000 a month.
And we did that number?
$120,000 a month.
From $30,000 to $120,000 in 10 weeks. Why? Because he knew the formula. Right? So I hear people, I hear jokes go out all over. I hear JVs happen all the time. Like one attorney will say to another attorney that's struggling, well, I tell you what, let's do a JV and I'll take my formula that I know that works and I'll show you how to do it and you pay me a percentage over profit or something like that, right? I hear that a lot because the guys and gals in here that start to really understand the power of owning the formula of what marketing works and then having the machine behind it, super powerful.
Yeah, look, anybody here can do it. You just have to lay the foundation and understand you have to really own that process. So when Rich talks about the PCLC, you can pick any number that you want, but you have to pay the price in understanding those numbers and how it changes based on your advertising sources. So once you figure out that formula, once you figure it out, because immigration started sloughing off in North Carolina with Donald Trump. And so I knew last year I needed to go ahead and try to find a bigger pool. So I found the biggest pool in the country, arguably has the most competition. And we dropped right in the middle, and that's what we were able to do. So I'm not different than anybody else here, and I learned just like you. In fact, I was probably worse off than most of you all here when I started off. And now we're going to double up in California again, another office this next year, and we're doing better than $120,000 a month now in terms of new business than where we were then. We're over $150,000 now. So you can do it, you guys can kill it, but you got to learn the lessons. You got to do what Rich says. And once you own that number, I'm telling you what, you can do anything you want. And my definition of success is freedom, being able to do anything you want to do. And that's, for me, that's what it's all about.
Including building a house in Wilmington, California.
That's right. You know, when the hurricane hit us, we had a tree land us on there. But actually, I'm getting a house now in Puerto Vallarta, so by the time we go down there, we'll have a pad down there in Puerto Vallarta. So, yeah.
Right next to Bill Gates?
Well, actually, yeah, I think he bought the Four Seasons. I'm trying to be closer to downtown, which everybody, you know, we'll invite a bunch of people down there. So, look, I mean,
it's led to some interesting stuff. I mean, so you're hearing a lot of people around here have hired some staff in Puerto Vallarta. I mean, how many people do you have in Puerto Vallarta now? You personally?
So I personally have 25, and then we have another 25 with other firms, and so we're outgrowing everything, so we have to get another space, and we're starting something over in Mexico City because the demand is so high.
So it's led to this whole pool of employment when you've got the unemployment rate in America is at 3 point whatever %, and you have you know, a talent. We're now starting to scrape the bottom of the barrel of the talent pool, and salaries have gone through the roof, and availability of talent isn't quite there. The business is still going to grow. You know, this foreign business got to grow. You got to get talent somewhere. So you've opened that door up for people.
Right, yeah, we did it first. It was just because we had our friends, we were down there. It's like, well, if we figured out we always like to share. I mean, I'm from a big family. We always have people come live with us. You can always add water to the soup. So we just figured, oh, come on, guys, we'll find a way to make this work. So, you know, that's just, it's a sense of community. I mean, people we work with, they're our friends, and we really do want to see them succeed. So why not? If we figured something out, share it.
Yeah, good. By the way, we're not in the employment business.
We are not in the employment.
Very good. Okay, so facts we discovered this quarter. So what did you discover?
All right, so one of the big issues that we're really seeing out here, we could talk about specific data in terms of how a lot of your phone agents have a lifespan in terms of when they basically fall off. But the truth is what everybody needs to really, what might be practical to you all, is going to be is you have to have a game plan for on your conversion process for when people check out. They may have given their notice, they may stop caring, but you always have to be working on making sure that you have a bench to move into. A lot of times we see lawyers who think, all right, I saw this, I don't have any problems, and they get mad when somebody quits and like, oh, now I gotta start all over again. Well, I'm sorry that you thought that you had made it. We never make it. We're always basically increasing our ability and our capacity to handle these. So invest the time and energy, make sure that you have a plan B when that does happen, because it's going to happen. So that way you're not slowed down when it happens. So, you know, find that second phone agent, because I'm gonna tell you what right now, believe it or not, if you have the right people on the phones, your conversion rates will go through the roof, because they'll actually be sold and they'll buy before they even show up. And that people think that that phone agent is just to set an appointment. No, that person right there is a person that's telling them everything's going to be just fine. Just show up, it's going to be okay. And they come in with that attitude and they already have their checkbook.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things I want to unpack there. First is this concept of graduating your phone personnel. What you need to recognize is, depending on your practice area, your phone personnel will burn out at some point, and depending on your practice area will depend on the pace at which they burn out. Family law typically can go faster than bankruptcy. Criminal can somewhere be in the middle, right? But depending on your practice area, you'll have a different rate of burnout. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And when that happens, if they're good quality team members, but they've just stopped performing well in their role, we have to ask ourselves, is there a place for them to be able to graduate to in the firm? Because they already believe the vision. And so if we recognize it going in, we can catch it before the burnout ruins them and your relationship.
Yeah, because they want to succeed. They just may not have the same stamina to basically maintain that. So you want to bring somebody else who could train as a legal assistant. Well, bring in that person who's already has that emotional attachment to potential clients. They want to see them succeed, rather than coming from some standpoint that I have this belief that some people just crave significance regardless of how it impacts others. We want people motivated by helping other people. And so those people on the phones, they've developed that rapport, and let's graduate them into that role instead of somebody where it's just about that.
Right. The other thing I would say is this is the reason why the perfect client lifecycle is so important. Because So Bert's made a blanket statement that I agree with, that a phone person can, one, help you increase your conversions, and they can do many other things besides just maybe answering inbound leads or outbound leads. However, Helene discovered is it's a math equation, right? So if you have 500 leads and you convert 100 of them into clients, that means we've got 400 leads that are unconverted. And if we need to make an average of 12 to 15 calls to those 400 leads, that means we need 4,000 phone calls made over the next 90 days to those 400 leads. Well, guess what? Next month, I got another 400 leads. I need 4,000 phone calls made to. If you don't have somebody that has the bandwidth to make those calls, the calls won't get made. If the calls don't get made, we won't convert at the highest possible level. If we don't convert at the highest possible level, we're basically leaving money on the table. And what I like to say is we're stepping over dollars to pick up quarters. And so people look at phone personnel as an expense, but really, with the right number, it's an investment.
It's free.
It's free. Now, if you have, depending on how many clients, to your point, is you said I have 15 clients, most come from referrals. I'm guessing your lead count isn't really high. So we probably don't need a full-time phone person for that. We might need a part-time phone person for that. So you have to figure out where you are mathematically, which is why it all comes back down to the perfect client lifecycle. It's just arithmetic. All right, next point. Improved conversion rate equals offer value to unconverted leads.
Right, so everybody here has unconverted leads. The question's going to be is, why is that second conversation going to be different than the first conversation? So I highly recommend that if you can identify a new offer to give those people in that second conversation, so you're not just calling them up and saying, hey, look, did you change your mind? That's a waste of time. You're basically detracting from your status. What we want to do is say, listen, we actually reevaluated your situation. We came up with a new opportunity for people like yourself. It's a limited time. If you do this, you get this. This is a limited time where we actually only have so many spots we can make this available to clients, because we can't help everybody, but you're at the top of our list. And that is a completely different conversation than just calling up somebody and saying, hey, look, did you change your mind? Are you still thinking about bankruptcy, or are you basically drinking and forgetting your life? You know, that kind of thing.
But sometimes you got to be honest. But
right.
can I plus one on that?
Yes, sir, please.
So add value to increase your unconverted lead conversion. On Friday afternoon, or Friday morning, I'm presenting on the Building of the Evergreen webinar. Over the last 11 months now, sorry, I've embarked on a journey to see if I can increase my conversions all across the board by using webinars as a tool. And there's some myths about webinars that I've debunked. And there's some massive increase in numbers. So imagine the phone call goes like this. So you have this list of unconverted leads. You've got 2,000 unconverted leads that your phone people are working. Right now they're working them in some happenstance order of either their desire or software automated. Imagine this. Instead of calling just anybody, now they only call the people who raised their hand because they wanted to attend a webinar of some kind. Maybe they didn't even attend. Maybe they did attend. Maybe they asked for a transcript of the webinar. I don't care. Now the conversation changes. Hey, Julie, I know that we had talked previously, and I know you're going through X, Y, and Z. I see that you registered for Bert's webinar on how to get your green card, right? I was wondering what was most interesting to you about that. And all of a sudden, Julie's starting to have a conversation about why they were interested in this webinar, which now opens up a dialogue and gives a natural bridge over to them setting an appointment. It has been a game changer for us. Wait until you see what I'm going to share with you. And I've got some surprises at the end. All right, next. Your big question.
Yes, the big question. And so this is where the power that you can use the PCLCs. The real big thing is that a lot of people don't have goals. One of the things that we've identified that people actually do perform the best, because we have 40-some clients now with 4 eyes, like Rich is saying, sometimes have people outside. If we actually set specific targets, the benchmarks, actually numbers in those PCLCs, and you're getting feedback for how to achieve those, the growth is substantially higher than the people just saying, I just want more money. If you just want more money, guess what? You're probably going to get a little bit more, but you're not really going to get what you want. When we get specific with your goals and we dial in with that, then you can make huge leaps. So my question to you all would be, right now, is how big do you really want to be? How many cases do you want? If you do that, we can do the math yourself, you can kind of come up with a strategy to get you there. That's ultimately what a lot of our relationship has become with the 4eyes clients, especially the new platform, and I'm happy to show anybody here my numbers. I'll pull up my stuff out here so you don't think I'm just somehow sitting up on the, just telling stuff that's not true. I'll show you my numbers, my stuff that we're doing, and the power in picking that target. If you say, look, I want to be 30% bigger, that's easy.
Yep.
That's
So
easy.
we're going to take Mike, we're going to give him a minute, we're going to give him some music, and here's what I want you to do. You're just going to write down a number. How many cases do you want to to retain your firm every month? This is the number. Now, how many do you want? Not how many do you have. How many new cases do you want retaining your firm a month? Now, if you've got multiple practice areas, pick the gross number, right? Or pick a number for a practice area, whatever you want your laser focus goal to be. So let's give a minute, stop and think, and come up with a real number. Work it backwards in your head. What would that mean to you in gross revenues? Based on your current profit margin, what would that mean to you in net incomes? How would that change or alter your life or allow you to help more people or gain more freedom? Music in a minute. Does anybody need more time, or do you have your number? Everybody's got their number? All right. Per month, how many do you want in a year? How many do you want in a month? How many do you want in a month?
And my one point that I want to this is a really, really powerful point. Hopefully, this doesn't kind of just blend into the obvious. Is the difference is all of us have a lot of things that we're supposed to do every day, in which we're challenged to do the things that we're consistently supposed to do. They're going to deliver us there. If you can come up with a number that excites you, you'll be pulled towards it. You'll be pulled towards doing all the necessary things. Those of us who set artificially low goals, we try to nudge ourselves and we don't reach them, we just get more frustrated and our self-esteem goes down. Pick something big. Pick something big that's going to excite you, what you're going to do with that money, and then let's have the conversation.
Round of applause for Bert. Thanks for sharing your time.